You're probably beginning to gather that the limit is a little bit quirky. So if we look at this function here, this rational function, where we have the absolute value of x over x, as long as x is positive, this is going to be a positive 1 because x over x is 1. However, when the bottom becomes a negative and the top is compelled to stay positive because of the absolute value, then we're going to have a negative 1, okay? And if we take the limit as x approaches 0, we find out there's this rule. There is a rule that says if I take the limit as x approaches 0, it better be the same from both directions. So as it gets closer and closer to 0, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But on the other side, as I get closer and closer to 0, it's negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. And remember, I never actually get to 0. But it's definitely different from the right. It's positive 1. And from the left, it's negative 1. So that we are going to write, it does not exist, okay? DNE. The limit does not exist because it has to be the same from both sides. So we go down here to the problem, and same situation, except that now it's been shifted over to, we're inside messing with the x. So as I say, x lies, so we've shifted the whole thing over to negative 2 there. And yet the same thing's happening. The limit as x approaches negative 2, what's happening? Well, from the right, we're at positive 1, because it's still the same thing over the same thing, and they're both positive, okay? But when we approach from the left, the bottom part is free to be negative, and it is, and it's approaching negative 1, and therefore, this does not exist because as x approaches this negative 2 from either direction, I get two different things, and therefore my limit does not exist. So I would say, well, we haven't started writing this yet, but I would say the limit as x approaches negative 2 from the left is x is negative 1, and the limit as x approaches negative 2 from the right is positive 1, and so they're not the same. If you want me, it says explain why. Well, here's why. Not the same from left or right. So the little negative and the plus sign, this means from the left, and this means from the right. Of course, we'll get into this more.